Henshin a go baby. What's good, guys? Yoku here and Reddit. Once again, all right, something was sent to me while we're streaming here, and chat's talking about Love and Deep Space and Damon Salvatore right now because I might have said some stuff. You know, it is what it is. You're not gonna know what it is because you got to be in the stream to see that. But regardless of that fact, you guys know how I talk about how I don't like Astra. I hate Astra. I think Astra is the worst thing to happen to Zenless Zone Zero since the dawn of time. Okay, I'm gonna just be honest now. But before anybody comes after my throat, I understand Astra is the best thing for players since sliced bread. Now, Io, why don't you like Astra? Why do you always say Astra's bad for the game? The reason I say Astra is bad for the game is simply because of the fact that Astra allowed something that should not have existed. And she did a couple different things, to be fair. One of the key things that affected all players, even though they didn't realize it at the time, was that Astra elevated the game, like power scaling wise, or power ceiling, if you will, right? Astra allowed everything to completely go bonkers and broken. Now, the combination of Astra and Miyabi at the time that they released dramatically increased what the actual power ceiling or the availability for this power was, right? Dramatically increased it. But Astra's ability alone, her kit, is very similar to characters in other gacha games that I'm just not a fan of. Robin, which Robin isn't so much an issue, but Robin as a concept was an issue. And then we got Astra, which again, if you don't play Star Rail, I'll explain. What Robin does in Honkai Star Rail is she presses her skill, she's inactive, she pops her ultimate or whatever, and then she gives you a huge power boost plus an advance forward, which moves your characters up on the action bar. She does all of this stuff with the single click of a button, and then she removes herself from the field, right? So like she's inactive, you can't control her, she doesn't do anything else, but she still provides benefits to your team. Energy, extra damage, the damage buffs at the action advance forward. She gives you a lot. Zero IQ gameplay. Now, in an active game, how would you do something like that? Insert Astra. Astra came into Zenless Zone Zero, and she basically did the exact same thing that Robin did. Funny that they're both singers. She did the exact same thing Robin did, but now in an active game, there is no drawback. Astra never has to get hit. She's always on the field. She's always active. She's always giving you the buff. And on top of that, she introduced quick assist function, which quick assist by itself is okay. Like the actual action of quick assist from Astra, the abuse of it is okay. That's not the problem. It's the combination of that plus everything else that has created the problem. So moving beyond that point, now we get into how does this affect the player? It allowed the player to essentially go into a full-on, you know what? Actually, Infernal just said it in a very simple manner. I don't have to over-explain. She dumbed down the player base. That's the most simple way you can say it. How did Astra dumb down the player base? That's insulting to the players. No, it's not. Please listen instead of taking offense, and then I can explain, even though that's not really offensive, but whatever. She allowed players to essentially turn their brains off for almost any team. At that time, she allowed you to turn off your brain for every team. Every single team during 1.4 through 1.6, you could just turn your brain off. It wasn't until Mono Ice started to get a huge resurgence with Miyabi in particular, Lycon, and then Sokaku, that players were like, wait a minute, turn brain back on, because there was no use of Astra. And so then more teams started to get discovered because more players were like, wait a minute, are there other teams that could perform just as strong as Mono Ice, but do effectively something similar, if not on their own right? And this is where more players started to turn their brain off. Astra allowed anybody to turn their brain off. To this day, you can just turn your brain off with Astra. The power isn't there anymore, or rather the power is there, but the HP inflation and stuff like that kind of, you know, detract how strong it is or was compared to back then, right? So she did that for the player base. For the game, as I said, her plus the combination of Miyabi increased this power ceiling to infinity and beyond. As a result of that, guess what? HP inflation, yay! The thing that everybody always complains about and doesn't like. Enemies having more resistances or being able to not be affected by certain things, having more defense, having different invul phases, if you will, right? Completely avoiding you or faking you out, being more parry-centric to de-incentivize players from playing hypercarry, so like two supports that can't physically parry, and then one character that can parry, which is usually your main DPS, right? The game shifted to try and counter the damage that was already done. Now, again, this is something that I've talked about for months. I've talked about this since Astra came out. I'll even pull it up here in one of my videos. Not that one. That's not the one that we're talking about just yet. That's a whole different video, but I'll even pull it up here in one of my videos where I go on to mention that Astra was the best, worst thing to happen to the game. 10 months ago, I tried to warn the community, and it got around, right? This is back during my peak when I'm getting views, okay? A future problem, question mark. Astra was the best, worst thing to happen to Zenless Zone Zero, this video right here, and I was right. I said it back then. I talked about why. I explained it over and over and over and over again. And the ultimate moral of the story or resolution, right, to that entire thing was that you might have heard me say with Pride Win, when you reduce the level or amount of information that a player can learn, when you take that away from them, you oversimplify things so that they don't have to learn it. You remove their incentive to go out of their way to learn something. When you do that, you dumb the player base down. You make it so that it'll never cross their mind to do it. So in the event that they need to turn their brain on, they need to think, how do I get out of this scenario? Damn, this thing is really stopping me from doing something. How do I deal with that? They don't know how to deal with it, and they don't know how to find the answer. This is what's currently happening with the entire Zenless Zone Zero player base. Maybe I should say the majority of the Zenless Zone Zero player base. So now that we've explained that, and I'm sure you guys have seen some examples of what's going on with everything happening here, I want to bring you to this Reddit thread that was sent to me. So a little bit older, it's gotten its traction, it's pretty much done. I do believe the mods might have turned it off, right? So no more comments, I don't know. But here we are. Miyabi/Ishwin have made me a worse player. Hi all, long time player here. I've owned Miyabi and Ishwin since their releases and have built premium teams for both of them. I thoroughly enjoy them both, but I decided I wanted to build a new team, particularly an Aftershock team centered around Sanvi. After trying the team, I realized how bad at the game I am, in large part to the sheer bullshit I can get away with using the Void Hunter level characters. I couldn't even get a basic attack string off because I've forgotten how to dodge. Incoming attack, I'll just parry with Ishwin. They're talking about her, you know, her EX skill or her orbs, the things that you can manually parry with without having to like let go of the character, right? I don't want to dodge that. Oh, I'll just charge attack or basic attack spam with Miyabi, taking advantage, abusing her iframes, so on and so forth. This isn't really a rant, just a realization that I'm hyper carried by those two in particular. Now, the very first thing, right? The very first comment, because I was getting ready to talk about it, I'm just right here. That's how I feel about Astra with her quick assist. I actually forgot I could switch back manually, so kept using Panda basic attack until I got the energy to switch into Ishwin. I did this for like a week before my brain registered that I could press the assist button at any time. I'm not going to go through this thread and like harp on anybody. I'm not harping on Space Dry because that's not my intention at all. I'm quite literally only using this Reddit thread and like the comment here, and you guys are free to like scroll through it if you want to, right? But I'm using this to further prove my point and validate what I've been trying to talk about for the longest time, right? A lot of people in the space tend to think differently of me, and they think that I'm like, woohoo, right? I'm just like spouting nonsense, but I'm not. A lot of my content, a lot of what I try and explain to the player with or without me having to show you these things, and I'll talk about the showing thing in a little bit here, but a lot of what I'm trying to get the player to do is expand or open their third eye, right? If you can think for yourself in these games, or at least think enough to be able to figure out or search for the answer, ask these specific questions, you are in a significantly better position than a player who cannot. A player who cannot think for themselves, a player who cannot think outside of the box or look for answers, right? It doesn't mean that you find the answer on your own, but it means that you're able to look, you're able to ask specific questions that will get you as close to the answer you want as possible. A player that's able to do that is a much stronger player in the long game. I brought up Astra, Fallen Moon, brought up Astra. We talk about Miyabi and Ishwin and why these characters are what they are. They are essentially like one-woman armies to be able to do so much, right? They allow the player to do whatever. I'm going to bring this back to something that I've talked about since Star Rail, and I said that hypercarry as a team concept, it's bad for the lower level player and it's okay at the top, right? Like it's good at the top because you can do whatever you want. It's power. But it's bad for the lower level player because this team doesn't teach them how to play the game. This team doesn't teach them how to team build. This team doesn't teach them how to be met with an issue and then figure out a solution or a problem or whatever, right? It doesn't teach them what they need to know as they level up. As they get into end game, it doesn't teach them what they need. What's a good example of that? I don't like double ether. I hate it in Zenless Zone Zero. I love the characters. It has its uses. It's strong. I don't like it in this game. What is double ether? Anything, any DPS plus Nicole and Astra. I hate it. I don't like Yuzuha and Astra plus a DPS. I don't like most supports, right? I don't like most hyper carries slapped together, or two supports, powerful supports slapped together, and then one DPS character, because most players who are using these teams have zero idea what they're actually doing. And instead, they're taking advantage of the fact that they can just mash, as we see here, with one DPS character, Miyabi or Ishwin. And a lot of, at least back in the past, I haven't seen any videos recently that do this, so I don't really know any updated opinions, but I do know some of the opinions from my peers back then where they would promote this, where it's like, yo, you should be playing hypercarry. You should only play hypercarry, or you should only be like invested in hypercarry because it's the best thing to play because damage. But as we've seen, and it continues to be proven true, right? That in a game like Zenless Zone Zero, that is constantly changing for better or worse and making players rethink or second guess decisions. You know, the players that aren't having this issue, the ones that are able to adapt, the ones that are able to look towards a little bit more of the future for their plans, the ones that are able to, hey, I've been met with this wall, have a couple ideas, let me go test it, let me figure out an answer, and then I'll get back to you. Boom, post a YouTube video about how I beat this thing. These are the type of players who are turning their brains on, thinking outside of the box, that aren't suffering the same issues that somebody else is, where like, hey man, I can't beat this thing with only anomaly, or I can't beat this thing with the current team that I have. My team is the correct type element versus this boss, but I still can't clear more than 20k in Deadly Assault, or I can't clear my 2.5 minutes in Shiyu defense. It's too difficult. I don't understand the matchup. I don't understand like how come I can't beat Armored Haiti, or how come I can't beat Tepis, right? Boom, boom, boom. I'm not understanding why I'm not doing enough damage. I have the same exact team that X other creator or player has. They're doing 1 million damage with their EX skill. I'm doing 400,000 damage with my EX skill. What's going on? Hey, well, are you playing towards the boss, like the mechanics? Did you parry? Oh, I didn't even know I could parry. I didn't know I was supposed to parry the arms, right? Knowledge. It's a lot of things are knowledge in this game, knowledge checks, right? Before you even get to the skill factor, a lot of the things in the game are knowledge checks. Now, to players' credit, and I talk about this again all the time, game does not do the best job at telling you all this information because the game wants you to learn it and blah, blah, blah. They could easily just tell you some of this shit, okay? Like, we could all admit that. Cool. But you're continuing to play the game. You clearly want to clear it, whether that be for personal gain or satisfaction or polychrome. Your best interest as a player is to figure out or learn how to do it. That's typically what we do over here on this channel, is help you guys understand how to do that. Now, real quick, I want to address something that I just happened to see, not today. I mean, I saw it today, but it wasn't like in stream or anything like that. Someone mentioned that I provide a lot of theories and concepts and explain how to do something or what options you can do, but I don't do them for you. I don't go on the person's account and do it for them. I don't load up the game, take 40 minutes out of my stream time or personal time to do this thing for somebody that I've already given them the answer for. And for that, it's a reason why they don't like my content, or they don't like me as a content creator. I'm not that guy. I'm not even gonna say that's Kate, like Kate does that, because he does, but like I'm not that guy. I do not want to be the person that does any work for you. Now, if I choose to do that during an account review, or a lot of people in my chat, like sometimes I'm just super generous, like, yo, give me your account, I'll clear that shit for you right now, because I'm just in the mood to do it, right? I don't mind helping, asking me questions and trying to get the help, or trying to get me to show you something. I will always take time out of my spare time that I can do, right? I will always take spare time out of my day, even if I'm not on stream, to help you learn something that I'm aware of or know in the game. A lot of the times I will sit there and experiment with you. I'm working on the Alexandra, let me know if you got the timestamps, by the way, but I'm working on an account review. Some of you guys know this from my stream. There's an account review that I did for Alexandra. I think it was like our first big account review, right? And in that account review, guys, how long did we take? 4-6 hours? The VOD is crazy long, just because, and I cleared it. I did what she wanted me to do. I beat the thing. I cleared it or whatever. I fixed up the account. I did everything, right? We did a whole ass account review for like what she wanted me to take care of. I did it. But for the next like 4 or something hours, 6 hours, whatever it was, I was so dedicated to doing this thing that I told her would work. And I couldn't do it at the time because I didn't play the team. So I took my entire time well past my streamer time, my stream schedule, well past it. I took time out of my own schedule, stayed on stream late just to make sure, yo, how do I learn this team? Boom, learn the team. What's the combo? Boom, learn the combo. Cat, what's the rotation? Boom, learn the rotation. And then I did it just to prove and show you can do it too. And you know what she did? Logged into her account right after that, or like a day after that, lickety split, cleared it. I don't know if she was taking notes, but I'm just saying, she did it. That is my job. My job is not to do shit for you, okay? I'm not here to jump on the game and give you whatever. If I give you the concept because it's something that you or other players are struggling with, I might show you something, right? Like I'm working on the Thrall guide just because I took personal interest in that. And I might continue depending on the results of the Thrall guide, like how positively or negatively it's received. I might continue with some more boss guides, right? But I'm doing that out of my own volition, my own time and consideration, my own interest. Outside of that, if I give somebody information like, yo, you could beat Thrall with, I'm gonna make up something just because I can, I don't know. You could beat Thrall with main DPS Pulchra or main DPS Caesar, Stunner Pulchra, and Astra, right? Just whatever, something crazy. If I give somebody that the ability, like you can do this thing and here's like the resources and information backed up as to how you can do it, I'm not doing it for you. That's just not my job. I don't have to clear that. I don't care to clear that. I've already cleared it. You want to clear it that way. So you go do the work. But if you ask me for help on how to get to that point, that's my job. I will do that. I don't mind. Just clear the boss for me. You know what, guys? Chaotic is a perfect example of a stupid. Nah, he's cool, man. That's my boy. My boy is cool. But y'all get what I'm saying, right? That's like the moral of that point. I've already talked about the worst player thing and whatnot. But I just wanted to address that. I saw the comment. It rubbed me the wrong way a little bit because I'm like, that's really like not a thing for me, right? And again, I relate a lot of things to real world. And so I say it in the way of like, hey, if you had a coach, you're playing sports and your coach tells you, yo, man, I really know that you can run like a 4.5, right? For whatever you got going on. Like, I know you can dunk. I know if you put a little bit more work into it, you like do a 1-2 and then like you really just jump up there. I know you can get that rim. Your coach's job is not to get on the court and then do the dunk for you. You know what I mean? Like he can show you what to do to get there, but your job, you want to get that dunk. Your coach is not the one that's on the court during the game night, right? When it matters, your coach is not going to sub in, pass me the rock, and then boom, 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 boom. Like he's not doing that. That's your job, bro. The same thing with Zenless, right? Your job, your account. Hey man, I really want to beat Thrall. I really want to beat Marionettes. I really want to fight Bringer with Ellen. And I know it's possible, but like, what do I do? Oh, well, if you want to fight it with these particular restrictions or limitations, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 are your options. Here's some resources that I found that I know about. And then this person is the Ellen main. So you could probably go ask them like what you might be able to do. And like, here's what I know about Ellen that could help you do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, but I can't trust you because you didn't do it. You didn't do it for me. We're gonna have a rough time. But that's it. I just wanted to clear that up. Another video where I'm really not going to ask you guys like to let me know how you feel about it because it is what it is. You know, I just clarification. Thank you for watching the video though. I appreciate that one. This one's way shorter than the other ones. Like the video, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. I can't say my usual outro because it's inappropriate for YouTube. Smell you later. I didn't know he had animation cancels for like the full theme.
What are you talking about?
No.
The whole point of it being of you doing cancels. It was
but
animation.
I thought it was. Listen, I did not give Zenless this much credit. I thought it was a regular cancel, like push the button, continue the stream. But you're.